Hey guys, welcome to our backyard garden and the October garden tour. There's Farmer John back there. He just came back from Lowe's. He had to get a bag of peat moss so we can mix it up in the soil where we're planting our fall bulbs. Or spring bulbs actually in fall. So if you haven't seen that video, we'll go ahead and attach that link for you so you can see what we're up to today on our garden tour. So how was Lowe's, Farmer John? Did you notice anything new over there?
Busy.
Was it busy? Did you go in and see the Christmas trees?
I did.
Did they put the prices up?
They did not.
No, wow.
No, still no prices.
We'll attach that video link for you guys, so you can see what we were looking at. They've had trees up for a few days now. But anyway, right now we're thinking about spring. So this is the area where I was showing you that we're putting in all of our tulips, hyacinths, and things like that today. So that's on the tour. But more importantly, I want to show you what's already growing. So last week that storm came through. I think it was it Ophelia? Do you remember what the name of that storm was? Ophelia? Wow, did it dump some rain on us? Thank God we didn't get any wind, but we did have a lot of heavy rain damage. So tomato season, I think, got cut short for us very, very sadly. But just before the storm came, I had went planting all of my radishes and daikon. I planted so much stuff. So I want to show you, I have a lot of things that actually came up, and it's only been 2 weeks. So I moved the little raised galvanized bed, one of the beds that we bought at Tractor Supply. Last year it was over there at the greenhouse. So this year we moved it over here so that I can stain the greenhouse. But these are 3 of the varieties of spinach that I am growing. So we have Bloomsdale Longstanding, Oceanside, and American. Now I got Bloomsdale Longstanding from several vendors. This one I believe is Baker Creek. This is Botanical Interest, and the American is from M.I. Gardner. But you can see I actually have first leaves going, and this spinach is really taking off well this year. It absolutely loved all of the rain it got. But I like to make sure that the seeds go in spaced well enough that they have plenty of room to grow. And we eat spinach 7 days a week. So this is very, very important to us. Now I've done a few other varieties that some grows better. It's more tolerant for warmer weather, and it doesn't bolt as quickly. And it's kind of scary because the next few days we might get up into 80 degrees. So I'm hoping that my spinach doesn't bolt. You just never know what's going to happen. But I think it'll probably be okay. Some of the spinach lasts longer and then it totally dies back, and then some takes a long time to germinate. So I wanted to separate everything. Last year I had like 11 varieties in this little bed, and it was too much. So I decided to go ahead and do it different. And right now I'm going to show you another area that I planted my spinach, which is new for me, and what I'm doing different with my green stalk this year, which could potentially be a whole other video of its own, but I'm just going to show you what it is that I did. So I found that the green stalk for us just didn't work out. And this is a whole other side story. We bought the green stalk for our strawberries, and it is a mistake. You know, we'll own the mistake. We bought the leaf, and we should have bought the original one because the pockets are bigger. Most of our strawberries died, and we got very frustrated. We took it all apart. We transplanted our strawberries, and the green stalk literally sat all summer. So next year I think I'm going to use it in at least a half a tier. I'm going to separate them so that they're not fully stacked high, because a lot of people get the wind damage and they get knocked over, and I'm not taking any chances. So for now I thought, let me take the opportunity to sow a few different things in there as single planters so I can see how well they do and just use the space so that I don't have everything in the ground, because the roly-polies have been a problem here, and last year they ate a lot of my spinach seed. And we also have some other rogue bug that's in some of our beds, and it's eating the seeds. So I thought, let me take the chance to separate this, and it's actually working out pretty well. So I'm going to relocate these. They were only here because I had to put them under the table just to get out of the heavy force of the driving rain that we had from the storm. But you can see I have butterfly, which again I did from M.I. Gardner, did really well last year, but it didn't last very long in the garden. It kind of died back quick. This variety here is the Matador. This, I think, is Botanical Interest, and this is a really good variety of spinach. Giant Noble tends to get very, very large leaves, and it does, it hangs up well through winter. It's really good and long standing. And then the Gigante d'Inverno is germinating okay. There's a few seeds. I had the same problem last year when I direct sowed it, but you can see some of it is still just popping up. But now I'm going to have plenty of spinach. I might go ahead and add some extra seeds that may have just got misplaced from the rain, because I did pull them out from under the table while it was still raining, so they did get hit with a little bit of water pressure. So that's the beginnings of our spinach, and I'm pretty excited. So the other thing that I'm using the green stalk for this year in its individual tiers is to plant carrots. These carrots germinated rapidly, so I brought them out into the sun, and I actually have another one of the other tiers that I used for lettuce. So I have some different lettuce varieties in there, and it's doing really well. And the thing that I was able to do with these was I didn't cover them with cardboard or wood or anything to protect the seed. It's never good to plant carrots when you're expecting heavy rain or too many dry conditions, because carrots need light to germinate and they need consistent moisture. So I was able to take these and put them in the greenhouse just in a single row like this, and by the time they germinated I was able to bring them out, and then they got some rain and it worked out perfectly. So this is the other way that I'm going ahead and using the green stalk. So it's, you know, the green stalk is the leaf is at least 6 inches deep in these pockets, and all of these carrots are 60 to 75 day carrots, and they grow in the 6-inch length range. So I selected varieties that I thought would work best in these little tiers. So the tomato beds took a big hit. Thorburns terracotta has been mostly ripped down, but you can see it still wants to have babies. So in spite of all that rain, the Thorburns and the Black Beauty, my friend Pinkamingo was saying that her Black Beauties are popping up as well. And it has flowers and baby tomatoes, so I'm glad that I didn't totally rip them out. But you can see on like that tomato there, they crack really easy. So Black Beauty and Thorburns terracotta will not be making the cut for next year. But this is Dr. Witchy's, and they're still producing flowers in October. I doubt that we'll see tomatoes from this, but there are babies mixed in, and this is, you know, this is a pretty well diseased tomato plant right now, but sometimes at the end of the year it's worth it to just let them go. And gosh, the flowers, the bees are so happy. We still have, like I said earlier, we have a lot of bees, and we have hummingbirds still going through, and butterflies, so they're really grateful for this. And this is my first year having this variety, these different types of varieties of cosmos. I always mix flowers in, look at these guys, to my vegetable beds, but these cosmos, I have been just in love with them, and every day I look out at them and they bring me to a like literal place of peace. So they're mixed into all these tomatoes, and they've been a benefit because the bees are still getting attracted to them, which means that the flowers that are, you know, still coming up for the tomatoes are getting pollinated. So very, very exciting with that. Now this is the large raised trowel that we got from Tractor Supply. The wood is taking a beating. This is its first season out here. You can see I'm probably going to go ahead and try to seal some of this and maybe even cap it off somehow. I don't know how long these beds will live for. It looks like this leg may have split down completely, but no, it was actually 2 different pieces of wood. So I'm just realizing that now after all these months. But I had tomatoes in here earlier this year, and now this year I have planted daikon. This is the Botanical Interest daikon, and then this is the Baker Creek daikon. And they're 2 slightly different varieties, but I'll have so many daikon. We eat it every single day. I'm always much happier to have it from my own garden. And these little sprouts over here are all watermelon radish from Botanical Interest. Now, these little tiny guys popping up here, these are parsnips, and they take at least 110 days. So, but they do like the cooler weather, and the cooler weather does improve their flavor. So this is our first year growing parsnips. So over here in this bed, this did have some tomatoes. This gets volunteer tomatoes every single year. I went ahead and planted a bunch of French breakfast radishes, and you can see that they all germinated, and these are like one of my favorite radish varieties. They're so satisfying to harvest, and when they pop up and they're almost ready to be harvested, they all just kind of pop out of the ground and they line up like little red soldiers. They're really, really cute. So this year I have separated all of my radishes by variety. Normally I'll do different rows of different kinds, and then I kind of try to guess what they are when I harvest them. But this year I did it different. These are all Pink Beauty. Another really satisfying radish to grow. Grows very, very easy. And on this side over here, I have a whole bed of the Easter egg radish. These grow really, really, really well here in the garden for us, and they are a variety of pink, purple, white hailstones, and you just never know what's going to pop up, so it's kind of like a real surprise. And then on this other side over here, I did another variety that I wanted to isolate, and this is all, which one is this? Purple plum. These grow nice and big, and they're a really delicious crisp radish. They all hold up really, really well in the refrigerator for a long time. And when I harvest them, I'll get into that with you a little bit more about how I get my radishes to live for a long time in the refrigerator. But I can see it looks like a few maybe didn't germinate, and here's one here that's just taking its time. But these radishes range from 21 to 30 some days, so we'll have different radishes at different times. Now this trellis here is in front of the little cottage garden area near the bird's aviary. I'll be bringing them out in a few minutes. I'm trying to save you guys from the screaming parrots, so I'm going to leave them in until I'm done talking to you. But the marigolds that we planted here, these are Queen Sophia. This is a really super satisfying, did I say radish? Marigolds. This is a very, very satisfying marigold, and the things I love about these is that the bees will show up for these. I'll see bees into November here, literally. And you know, they'll hold up until it becomes absolutely frozen out here. So they have good longevity in the garden. But this is where we had different tomatoes. This was Amish paste, and then we had some Roma tomatoes over here. And this year I thought, let me go ahead and try autumn peas. Now look how well they are doing. How well the peas are climbing up the trellis. This is the Waldo pea on this side, and it's really hard to tell. They all look basically the same, but these are peas that you shell. These are, you know, that I'll be adding into our winter stews. And then these peas over here, this variety here is Sugar Snap pea, and then we have a snow pea variety over here, and this is the, let's see if I can get the tag here, Cardubi snow peas. So you can eat the pods and everything with them, and they are so sweet when they grow. You can actually just pull them off of the vine and eat them raw. So I brought you back to the area that is also known as the cornfield. I've planted another large variety of radishes, and you can see that they're all coming up. I have the purple malaga here, which grows really, really well. That's another big purple radish. I have some cherry bell, the 18 de jours. They grow supposedly in 18 days. We're getting close to it. You can see that the stems are getting their little red shades to them. I have Sasha 2, Crimson Giant, White Hailstones, Early Scarlet, Giant, Sicily. These all grow really well. These are all my favorite radishes, but out of all these varieties that I'm showing you, the French breakfast grows the best and is the most satisfying in flavor, if I had to just pick one. Now this end, we're having major problems. Like I said earlier, I'm struggling to plant cabbage. Nothing will let it grow. So these were all started. Mammoth Rock cabbage, red cabbage, the Tete Noir red cabbage. I have another one down there. They were all doing really good when they went in as starters. Something started eating them, and then the rain had their way with them, so I don't really anticipate that I'm going to have red cabbage back here at all. But those back there are Napa cabbages, and they're the I think one kilo slow bolt from Botanical Interest, and you can see something's still trying to eat them, but they're growing really well. So if they get exposed to cold temperatures for too long, they start to bolt. So this little heat wave here might be good for them. So I have never grown this variety yet, so I don't know what to expect from them, but I'm hoping that like some of this red acre red cabbage, we eat red cabbage 7 days a week, you guys, raw in our salads. So I don't know why I can't grow cabbage in the spring or now in the fall. It's just not working out. So fingers crossed on that. And then over here in this section, I have a variety of beets. I have rutabagas and turnips, and you can see we have some pretty good germination on those. So because this is a totally transparent tour, I thought I'd show you what happened with the storm. It totally wiped out my squash. So I think this one is the Waltham butternut squash. I have one really putting up a fight out of 4 that were here. My eggplants all took a beating. The marigolds went crazy. We just couldn't get back here. I'm literally getting swallowed by mosquitoes. So this was really been tough to work back here in this section. And also the storm took down our trellis that had the extra Dr. Witchies and the mortgage lifter. Those tomatoes were doing so well. And when the storm took them down, just from the sheer weight of the plants, they were covered in babies and ripe tomatoes, and it was very sad to have to take this trellis down. Now I'm back in the main tomato trellis area. You can see all the Hungarian hearts back there. It's really hard to work back here right now because the mosquitoes are so bad, and it's not just a couple, there's swarms of them. I think that we're going to try to salvage some of these green Roma tomatoes. This is worm season, so you got to be careful. It could be a waste of time, but we're getting ready to rip these guys out and allow all the different beautiful marigolds to just do their thing. I mean, I have so many varieties in here, and I think that we have some different hybrids because we plant so many different types together. The butterflies and the bees really love them, and I hate ripping them out. But right now it's so hard to navigate back here because the rain, like this stuff literally took off in a matter of days. It just exploded. So it looks really pretty from the window. Wow, look at all those park swappers back there. They will be good for, they have a lot of opportunity left to grow still. But anyway, yeah, it looks really pretty from afar, but when you come back here and you try to work in this garden right now, the misery that the mosquitoes are creating is really hard to work. I just noticed that I have a bunch more of Kellogg's breakfast back in there as well. Something that really is doing well right now though is, I'll attach this video for you. Even though they're laying down from the storm, we're still trying to get everything picked back up. The Cosmos video, oh my gosh, these Cosmos are so gorgeous. These are the Kiro and the Xanthos, and they're these giant yellow Cosmos that are so gorgeous. And more Park Swappers tomatoes. I see some Brandywines down there, so we got to get in and figure out what we're pulling as green tomatoes and praying for them to ripen, and what will just be go ahead and sacrificing and ripping out. But I also have a bunch of peppers. You can see that my pepper plants are chest high. They totally rebounded. So please go back and watch the video where I talked about what to do if your peppers are struggling, because what I did actually worked, and now I'm getting tons of pepper harvest. Now these are more daikon that I went ahead and planted just to make sure that I had different varieties, and I'm realizing that this bed here is where I normally plant my spring carrots, but this bed does not do well for winter carrots. Now, there's been times where I've used this bed for winter carrots and had better luck, but I never paid attention to just how much shade that bed gets. So I'm realizing that that's just not a good bed for winter carrots because it's not getting enough sun. So make sure if you're planting carrots now, you guys, that it has enough sunshine. But the lettuce here does really, really great. I have over 30 varieties of lettuce, and you can see like the Four Seasons is starting to get its color, Forel and Schluss, there's Flashy Buttered Gem. One of the ones that is doing the best this year, ironically, is Merlot. Merlot never does this well. So that's looking really, really good. Lunix is doing good. So we'll have Bronze Beauty, lots of lettuce this year. I actually had to step out of the main garden because the mosquitoes are so bad. We don't spray anything and I'm trying to avoid it, but I literally just, my feet were just covered, like it was really, really bad. So I want to show you a couple more things in this main bed here. And then once the weather changes and the mosquitoes die back, I'll do a more in-depth garden tour for you. Now, Farmer John was just explaining as he's opening up all of the holes where we're doing the mass plantings of tulips today. You know, the bed varies in drainage, so that's something you want to be aware of, you guys. So
And soil quality.
Some of the soil most of the soil is getting amended one way or another, but it'll just be not amended as much in certain areas because this section of the bed is a little bit drier and the soil is more loose. So you don't want to pack wet clay on top of your tulips because it'll cause some rot. So we're opening everything up here and we're getting ready to plant the tulips today. Oh yeah, so this area that we dug up, wow, you don't want to plant tulips in that, you guys. That is totally wet. You can always amend it with peat moss, which is what we're doing, or you could just add a completely different soil if you have to. We've learned in this property here that peat moss usually corrects things for us, but yeah, that's going to need some serious amending. Yeah, so once again, another year has gone by. I can't even believe that this time last year we were doing the same exact thing, planting tulips, cleaning things up, building beds. The next thing I wanted to show you before I sign off here, I forgot to talk about this with you. We had so many big projects this year, it made it really, really hard for us to just have continuous videos for you guys. Every day we think about, you know, people who are checking in on us, and it's like we want to share our garden with you, but it's been really, really difficult. So here's the next big project that's about to happen. So this whole entire section of grass here, which I'm not even really sure, I have to do a measurement, but it's a big area here, back to the golden mop bush that's there, and we're all in front of the bird's aviary. Now I can tell you that pergola area for the aviary is, the interior measurements are 15 feet. So this area here is probably 25 feet at least wide and at least 20 feet deep. Now what we're going to do is we'll be building a patio, a rough rustic patio, out of reclaimed pavers that we have and more pea gravel, and then we'll eventually be building beds around it and everything, but we're going to try to mix this area up a little bit as far as seating, maybe a grill area. We're still working out all the plans, but we have some grading that we're going to have to work with because it does slope down here into the swale for runoff. So that's the next big thing that we'll be working on. Hopefully we can utilize this area more to sit back and enjoy the yard, because once we get rid of more of the grass, we'll have less mosquitoes. So everyone in this area around us is having problems with the mosquitoes this year. So we're doing our best to really just enjoy our property. And it's so sunny out here and warm today. It went from being in the 60s to feeling like it's around 80. So anyway, you guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I'm going to go in and make my salad now. Thanks for joining us on this garden tour for the first week of October, and I'll see you guys in the next video.